Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today for this Donorbox webinar. My name is Jenna, and I'm the nonprofit advocate for Donorbox. And today I am joined by Daniel, and Daniel is our product manager here at Donorbox.
Hey, everyone.
So for those of you who are not familiar with Donorbox, we provide nonprofits with simple and effective tools to manage their online fundraising activities and connect with individual donors on a deeper level. To date, we have helped 50,000 organizations raise over $1 billion. So to learn more, you can visit us on our site at donorbox.org. Before we get started, I do want to note that this webinar will be about 40 to 45 minutes long with plenty of time allotted at the end for Q&A. Please feel free to drop questions in the chat box throughout this presentation. And Sophie, if you can say hi, will be behind the scenes marking questions for us. So thanks, Sophie. This webinar is being recorded, and all registrants will receive the link to the recording and the slide deck via email. Don't worry, we've always got you covered. All right, so let's jump right in. Today, I am so excited to introduce a tool that we just launched, Donorbox Peer-to-Peer Fundraising. And I'm even more excited to show all of you how it can maximize your campaign reach, encourage your supporters, and raise even more funds and awareness for your cause. This sounds great, right? I think this sounds great. So with Giving Tuesday coming right around the corner, and then the biggest giving days of the year right after that, I promise you, peer-to-peer is definitely a tool you want in your fundraising toolkit. So this is what we're going to cover today: how peer-to-peer fundraising can benefit your organization. And then Daniel will lead us through a live demo of how Donorbox peer-to-peer fundraising works, how you can get that set up. We will give you some ideas for creative peer-to-peer fundraising campaigns, along with pro tips to make your peer-to-peer campaign work and tips on how to mobilize your supporters and set them up for fundraising success. How does that sound? Everybody, let's get pumped up. Let's do it. Okay, so as always, I like to launch a poll before we start these sessions. So let me go ahead and launch this. And you should see that pop up for you. Have you ever been a part of a peer-to-peer fundraising campaign before? Have you launched one yourself, or have you raised funds for an organization through peer-to-peer? Maybe you're not sure, or you're like, what the heck is peer-to-peer? If you're answering yes, this is exciting. You're going to love this. And if you are answering, what is peer-to-peer? Don't worry, we have you covered today. And if you have participated in peer-to-peer before, go ahead and drop in the chat box what kind of peer-to-peer fundraiser you launched or participated in. Would love to see your own experience. And let's see, Daniel, these results are, probably what I was expecting. So the majority saying no so far. We've got about 36% saying yes, a few saying not sure, and a couple saying, what is peer-to-peer? So we are in for a treat today. We'll give this just a few more seconds to get everybody an opportunity to answer that poll there. Okay, and let's see. So some folks have raised funds through a peer-to-peer campaign for a 5K. Yep, big day of giving through Facebook, for college, for a college campus fundraiser. Let's see, day of giving and Giving Tuesday, excellent. And local day of giving where orgs have their members fundraise for their personal networks across the city. I love that, Caitlin. Awesome. Well, thank you all for participating in that poll and for chiming in the chat. Really appreciate that. Now, So what exactly is peer-to-peer fundraising? I know some of you asked that right there in the poll. So simply put, peer-to-peer fundraising is a method of fundraising that encourages your supporters to actively participate in your organization's fundraising efforts. So instead of simply donating, a peer-to-peer participant becomes an active fundraiser for your organization, which multiplies your organization's awareness and support. And I think that the big bang benefit of peer-to-peer fundraising is the level of impact it can bring to your organization. Peer-to-peer fundraising can help you boost awareness of your organization, reach even further networks, and help you raise more money in less time and for less money, because it all, it takes money to raise money. So this helps you with that. And we've got stats to back that up. Daniel supplied me with some really great stats. And you guys know I love a good stat. So 39% of Americans say they've donated to a charity based on a request from a friend or family member. 39%, that's a pretty big percentage. This equates to nearly 100 million individuals in the United States, and that at some point have donated to a charity just based on what a friend or family member recommended to them. And 6 million people took part in peer-to-peer fundraising in 2019 alone. And $416 was the average amount raised per participant in 2020 for larger peer-to-peer programs. And that number is up 83% from $227 per participant in 2019. So we're seeing a lot of growth here in peer-to-peer fundraising. And 14% of peer-to-peer fundraisers became fundraisers again for the same organization when asked. That is recurring support that you can depend on. So if these numbers don't pump you up about peer-to-peer, I don't know what will. No, just kidding. Actually, this whole presentation is going to pump you up. But with that being said, peer-to-peer fundraising mostly relies on the resources you already have. You already have everything you need, namely strong relationships and passion, which I know you all have passion for your cause. So you just need to add in an easy to use and affordable fundraising software like Donorbox, and you'll be ready to hit the ground running in no time, which is the perfect segue into our live demo with Daniel. So Daniel, if you'd like to share your screen, you are welcome to take it away. And to quickly answer some questions, yes, the recording and slides will be available. We will email those to you. Thanks for hopping on. All right, take it away, Daniel.
All right, so I'm going to just go through a brief demo on how to use peer-to-peer. So as Jenna kind of went over, peer-to-peer is a way for any individual who wants to support your campaign to be able to create their own campaign. And we tried to do our best to set this up in a way that is as simple as possible, both for the organization as well as the user. So I'm going to just do a brief demo on how an organization will manage this, as well as going through kind of the process of how an individual wanting to fundraise on your behalf will go through this. So I'm going to share my screen. Keep in mind, this is a demo account that I'm using. So if there's a little funkiness with it, bear with me. So with that being said, I'm going to share my screen right now. All right, so let's get started. So here, this should look a bit familiar. This is what we call the campaign index. It is all your campaigns listed here. As you can see, I have a lot of random test campaigns, but the one that we're going to focus on today is the Giving Tuesday campaign. Now, it's already an existing campaign, so I'm just going to show you quickly on how you can activate peer-to-peer on a new and existing campaign. So we're going to just go to this edit button here. And on the left-hand side of this general settings section, you'll see peer-to-peer fundraising. Now, you can enable it simply by selecting this toggle button right here. Done. So now you have peer-to-peer enabled. And what does this mean? It means that now you can invite fundraisers to fundraise on behalf of your campaign. Right now, I have only allow invited fundraisers toggled. What this means is that you as an organization are in control of who you invite. Now, if I want anybody visiting my campaign to be able to fundraise on my behalf, I will instead uncheck that, and now anybody can fundraise for my campaign. And you might be asking yourself, what does this look like? Well, let's go to preview campaign. So here's my campaign, just a standard Donorbox campaign. Now that I have invite only not checked, this button appears. I want to fundraise for this. In addition, you will also a user will also see this button when they submit a donation. So if I am, as an individual, want to fundraise for this campaign, I would select this and fill out some basic details here. I will type in my name and as a and that'll be my test account. Select it, and I'll be receiving an email with further instructions. Great. Now, if I were to want to invite someone, I can instead do this. So we have this fundraisers button. You can select the number here and it'll direct you to where you can invite fundraisers. You can also select the campaign title located here. And we have this fundraisers tab on the very right-hand side. If I select that, I can go to invite fundraiser. What happens? Same thing, fill out their name, email, and select invite. Now, I have invited myself or volunteered myself to fundraise for this campaign. So as a fundraiser, I'm going to move over to my Firefox browser to show you how this would look. The fundraiser would then receive an email. Thank you for your interest in supporting. And they will be prompted to complete their account. And then I will sign up. Great, my account is now activated. I can now start fundraising on behalf of Giving Tuesday Campaign 2021. So first things first, set up the campaign. We'll add a photo. Background image, by default, will inherit from the main campaign. The user has the ability to change this if they wish. Although, keep in mind, you as an organization can go into this campaign and edit it anytime you want. By default, the original campaign mission statement will also be here, so that the user doesn't need to actually type in anything if they don't want to. Again, they can edit it, but they don't need to. They also have a campaign goal that is optional that they can set. And then they can also customize their donation receipts to their liking. So they can personalize it with their own information so that when they receive a donation, the person donating to their campaign could, you know, have a more personal touch to it. So we'll create the campaign. Great. So now I can preview this page. It's my profile picture, everything and the like. Individuals visiting this page can also select this, and it'll redirect them to the main campaign. Now, if we view all these campaigns, you'll notice the status, awaiting approval. This only happens when an individual fundraises on the organization's behalf. Awaiting approval means that you, as the organization, have full control over what campaigns are and are not approved. When someone requests to fundraise on your behalf, you as an organization will receive an email, new fundraiser request from Giving Tuesday campaign. Here, you can go and view this and approve it inside your Fundraisers tab. I'll show you how to do that right now. So if we go back, let's refresh. There we go. So this is my fundraiser wanting to fundraise for me on my behalf. All you need to do is select approve. And now their campaign is active and visible to the general public, and they can start raising funds immediately on your behalf. All funds raised by this campaign are not touched by the fundraiser, but instead go directly to your main campaign. Now, the process of inviting a fundraiser is slightly different. If you invite a fundraiser to fundraise on your behalf, you do not need to approve them. Approval is implied, and they'll automatically have an active campaign once they create their fundraiser. And with that, I believe that is the entire flow. As a fundraiser, I do have access to donation data. And then if they have crowdfunding enabled on your main campaign, you have subscriptions. And then you also have access to the campaign URL, which is formatted with the original campaign name, fundraiser, and then the fundraiser's name. So with that, that is generally the basic flow of peer-to-peer. I do want to add that this is not the final version. We are iterating constantly. We have our developers working very hard every day to improve this experience, as well as add new features to the peer-to-peer campaign. One of the features I'd like to mention that we are planning to have deployed as a live version by the end of next week is to have a top fundraisers, a panel on the main campaign so that individuals can see who are raising the most funds, and also will have links to those individuals' campaigns. So this is what it will look like. I know it's a little small right now. So we have a fundraisers tab. So you can see how much they raised, how many donations, and each of one of these will link to the other campaigns. And then you can also have more information regarding this. Again, we're going to be iterating on this and improving. If you as an organization would like to see something that is not currently here, or something that will improve your experience, feel free to reach out to us. We are more than happy to listen to anything that can help facilitate easier use when interacting with this, as well as improving ways that you as an organization can garner more supporters and more donations. So yeah, Jenna, unless I'm missing anything, that is it.
I believe you covered it. Thank you so much for that demo. I'm going to go ahead and share my slides again. Everyone, I saw a lot of questions coming in throughout that demo, and we are being very diligent marking those questions behind the scenes. Hang tight, please, so that we can answer all of those questions at the end of this presentation during our Q&A. But don't worry, we have marked those. And Ronald, yes, we are recording this session, so you can rewatch this demo, really dive in and look at all those elements there. If you're having trouble viewing this today, we will send you and all of the registrants a recording after this. So thank you, thank you. Thank you so much, Daniel. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to kick you off stage, let you do your thing behind the scenes, and I'll bring you back up for Q&A.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, Daniel. Everyone, see how easy that was? As easy as it is to set up any other Donorbox campaign, it is just that easy to set up a peer-to-peer fundraising campaign and to get your supporters set up as well. And again, if you've got any questions about the user experience, we'll address those at the end of this presentation. Now, I'm sure that your wheels are already turning, thinking about the many different ways you can use peer-to-peer. So I want to share some types of peer-to-peer campaigns to help get you inspired here. So for what I've identified, there are 3 types of peer-to-peer fundraising. One would be your ongoing or rolling peer-to-peer fundraising, or then 2, a time-bound or time-based, and 3, giving days. And I'm going to give you examples of all 3 of these. So ongoing or rolling peer-to-peer fundraising campaigns are not bound by time. These efforts are self-motivated by the fundraisers, giving the participants the power to choose what works best for them. Some fundraisers benefit by having the opportunity to drive their own train. Do you drive a train, steer a train, operate a train? Anyways, drive their own train and appreciate the flexibility of timing here. So you can think of an ongoing or rolling peer-to-peer fundraiser like your regular fundraising page, except that allows others to fundraise for your general cause as well. And as Daniel showed, you'll see if you look at the top right header of this screen, the I want to fundraise for this button. So that's what makes that peer-to-peer. So if you're new to peer-to-peer fundraising, this is a great opportunity to test the waters and get comfortable with this new form of fundraising before diving into some more time-sensitive or elaborate peer-to-peer fundraisers. So again, ongoing, rolling, not bound by time. You can leave this up and let people fundraise for you throughout the year. Now, this is different than the time-bound or time-based campaigns. Time-specific fundraising campaigns, they're usually spread over a course of a few weeks or even months. Peer-to-peer fundraising campaigns with a set time period are a great way to provide a beginning, a middle, and an end. So amping people up, creating a powerful beginning by drumming up excitement, and then having a midway check-in with fundraisers and posting updates will help keep them engaged throughout these types of fundraisers. Walkathons are a good example of this, and I know someone mentioned that they participated in a 5K. So walkathons are a great example of this, especially now that many of these types of events have moved to a virtual capacity. All you have to do is launch your peer-to-peer campaign, set a start and stop date with your supporters, ask them to walk a certain amount of miles, and encourage your supporters to launch their own peer-to-peer campaigns and post updates in between. This is a very exciting period for folks that are participating in things like this. And with our top fundraisers panel launching soon, this is an excellent way to promote gamification and urgency. And so some other examples of time-bound peer-to-peer fundraisers could be fundraisers for a class field trip, and you can encourage your PTA to participate in the fundraising emergency relief funds, which you can mobilize your volunteers and your community to participate in. Also for holiday meals or winter essentials, if you work for a shelter, like the campaign above. This campaign here is asking for winter essentials to share the warmth. And if you're a shelter, you could launch a peer-to-peer for an animal that's in need of treatment, urgent treatment. And on the same lane, year-end campaigns are great time-bound or time-based campaigns. They don't happen on just one day, but they happen in the last quarter of the year. And this is a great opportunity to encourage your board to participate with these types of campaigns. And the third type of peer-to-peer fundraising would be giving days. Giving days can be ambitious, but very impactful for organizations. Typically, a giving day will require some education and awareness beforehand, so participants are ready and eager when the day comes. Giving days are quick, they're fast-paced ways to reach a goal. Again, like Giving Tuesday, like the example on the screen. So Giving Tuesday is coming up on November 30th, and all of you should be participating in this. As you know, that 30% of all annual giving happens in the last quarter of the year. Utilize this tool. So some other examples, if you're a women's shelter, International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women is coming up on November 25th. This could be an official giving day for your organization. If your organization serves children, World Children's Day is actually coming up tomorrow on November 20th. That could be a giving day for your organization. If your organization fights for human rights, World Human Rights Day is coming up on December 10th. That could be a giving day for your organization. Or if you're an animal rescue, Change a Pet's Life Day is coming up on January 24th. So you get the theme here. There are so many international holidays and fun days on the calendar that can inspire a giving day for a peer-to-peer fundraiser. It doesn't just have to be Giving Tuesday or the Great Give or an official day. However, I do still encourage all of you to participate in Giving Tuesday this year. So just some ideas there. So now that we've talked about different types of peer-to-peer fundraising, I want to give you some ideas to spark future peer-to-peer fundraising events. So, a-thons. Fun fact, according to a study conducted by Nonprofit Pro, 68% of peer-to-peer fundraisers fall under a-thon or athletic events. So with this in mind, you could consider activities that your network enjoys that relates to your organization, or launching a run, a walk, a swim-a-thon that can help promote healthy habits. Readathons are a great way to involve all ages, and especially fun if you are in the education or library services field. This method can also create friendly competition between each fundraiser to encourage reading more books or swimming more laps or whatever that may be. And the end result is this kind of like fun calculation of the donation amount per milestone. So say a fundraiser read 12 books and raised $2,400. They can calculate that they raised about $200 per book, right? That's pretty cool. You can get creative with these themes too. Encouraging your top champions to brainstorm together will really jumpstart the passion and inevitably drive them to onboard even more fundraisers. So a-thons, one of the most popular peer-to-peer fundraising themes. Another one, challenges can also be a fun way to encourage fundraisers to participate virtually. For example, the Ice Bucket Challenge for ALS Encourage participants to post a video of themselves pouring ice water over their heads and passing the baton by challenging their friends to follow suit. The Extra Life campaign encourages video gamers to play games for a cause, which is pretty neat. And Tom's fundraising campaign that was called One Day Without Shoes aimed to raise awareness for children's health and education. They challenged their supporters to donate a pair of shoes for the less fortunate without purchasing any product, for just simply capturing a picture of their feet and posting it on social media with the hashtag #WithoutShoes. All of these peer-to-peer campaigns have been wildly successful. So a pro tip here, and I know I already mentioned this, is to promote gamification to encourage more participation. Using friendly competitions to encourage donations can be a powerful way of getting more people involved and raising more money. And also set up a system to recognize your top fundraisers and see how it motivates them. So challenges are another good one. Now, symbolic gestures are a good way to involve people by asking them to change an aspect of their lifestyle in a symbolic way. So actually, this is the perfect month to showcase this. Movember encourages participants to grow out their mustaches for the month of November. And again, this is a wildly popular campaign if you just want to look up the hashtag Movember on social media. And let me know if you're growing a mustache for Movember this month. And the End It movement encourages participants to mark a red X on their hands. Both of these gestures raise awareness and open the door for conversation in addition to fundraising. So this is fundraising and advocacy going hand in hand here. And these types of peer-to-peer campaigns are great for human services organizations. And another thing you can do is create an ambassador or champion program. Invite your top volunteers to be fundraisers/representatives for your organization. Invite them to share their connection to your organization on a peer-to-peer fundraising page and equip them with a fundraising toolkit. This is an especially great way to keep your volunteers involved if they're still not able to be on site due to the pandemic. Does anybody having challenges with that right now? Anybody else have their volunteers off-site? If so, this would be a great way to mobilize them. So I launched an ambassador program at an organization that I served when the pandemic first hit. Not only did this help raise extra funds for the organization, but it was also a great way to build trusting relationships with the volunteers, keep up those relationships, and it made them feel valued and trusted during this uncertain time. So selecting your top donors, supporters, and even board members, make your board members ambassadors to participate in a peer-to-peer fundraising campaign is a great way to celebrate them and mobilize them. By empowering these champions to be the face of your campaign or of their own campaign, you're trusting them to represent your organization while giving them the power to tell their story. So be sure that you're thorough and clear about the guidelines of your campaign. So they have some instruction to help your organization maintain consistency while allowing them to include their own uniqueness. It's important that your fundraisers support you in a way that's meaningful to them, right? Because that's when they do their best work. But that's still in line with your organization's values and special voice. And our next one here. Finally, event management peer-to-peer fundraisers are a great way for people who love to participate in a more hands-on way, or if they're more social, like to be out with folks or like to organize things. So with these, you can create a handbook that includes activities and talking points to guide the fundraising host. Or you can consider a box of materials to give the fundraiser to provide swag items or decorative banners or informational materials to provide at a nonprofit event. By giving your fundraiser helpful materials, you're making the process less intimidating and more impactful. So, examples of event peer-to-peer fundraising. On the more elaborate side, fundraisers could represent you at nonprofit events like rallies or festivals, or host events such as a sleep out to end youth homelessness. They can set up their own speaking opportunities with an audience and pass out promotional materials and informational packets. On the flip side, a fundraiser could host events as simple as a game night, a movie night, or even a cooking class for their friends and family, all with a buy-in of a generous donation to support the cause. So, hey, you want to come do a movie night? That's going to be $50 donated to this cause. I've had a lot of friends do this recently, and they've been wildly successful and super fun. So again, there's a lot of room for your fundraisers to get creative here and make it their own. All right. I know this is a lot to think about. So before we jump in here, I want to check in. How are we feeling? I know we have a lot of questions about the tool. How are we feeling about peer-to-peer fundraising in general? Are we feeling excited? Are we feeling motivated? Are we feeling a little intimidated? Let me know how you're feeling in the chat before we move on. And we have the big question, where do I start? Elaine, a bit overwhelmed. Don't worry. I know this is a lot of new information, but we are here to support you. And we will be, again, providing this recording and slide deck in our Donorbox knowledge community with a whole bunch of folks to support you throughout this journey. It is, there are a lot of things to consider, but it is a very simple and effective way to fundraise. A lot in regards to managing and networking, but an exciting prospect. Motivated. Okay. Well, thank you all so much for your feedback. I know we're feeling motivated and our wheels are turning. So this is where we want to start. Where do I start? I've got some essential pro tips for you. So let's go ahead and plug through. First things first, you need to get organized, right? Just with any fundraising campaign, it's important to take time to get organized and set plans. So answer these questions. What's your campaign? What are you fundraising for? Who's taking the lead? What type of event do you want to plan? Is it general rolling? Is it time-based? Is it a giving day? Is there a theme? Is it a walkathon? Is it gaming? What is it? And what will you provide your fundraisers? These are the hard-hitting questions. So by ironing out all of these details, you'll not only manage these stress levels internally, but you'll also ensure a trusting relationship with your fundraisers, having everything all set in place. So while you're planning your event, be mindful of the other ways your organization will be fundraising throughout the year. Thinking ahead can help you inform possible fundraisers, encourage participation, and build excitement. So as you're getting organized, consider these tasks. Set a clear fundraising goal. Recruit the initial team of fundraisers. Decide on the networks that you want to tap into, your donors, your volunteers, your board members, who else? Create the description of your cause and what your nonprofit does, which you've already got on your website. Collate your pictures and make them shareable with the participants. Design your peer-to-peer fundraising campaign page, which is such an easy thing to do. And then just create a promotional plan and set guidelines and create templates for your fundraisers. This is a really important one. And then you just have to get the hang of Donorbox peer-to-peer fundraising. Spend time exploring the campaign creator, your donor dashboard, and of course, refer back to this webinar to explore the ins and outs of best practices. So that's pro tip number 1. Pro tip number 2, engage your fundraisers, right? This is another thing that we do for a lot of our fundraisers, but this is a big one and a big way for peer-to-peer. One of the most important keys to success of your peer-to-peer fundraising effort is preparing your fundraisers. As fundraisers yourself, planning a peer-to-peer campaign may come pretty naturally for you and your team, right? You've done this a bunch, or you've done your research, you know how this works, but it's important to keep in mind that your supporters may have never fundraised before. This could be a brand new experience for them. So doing a little hand-holding and providing as many helpful resources as possible is essential to the success of your peer-to-peer campaign. So send out an email to your supporters introducing your new peer-to-peer campaign. Schedule a time to inform the participants about it. Allow for questions and reinforce your mission. Most importantly, compile and distribute the tools your fundraisers will need to accomplish their goals. I know I've said this a lot, and I'm going to harp on this a lot more. The resources you provide your fundraisers could be anything from a set of guidelines and requirements, like what type of language they should be using, or asking them to enable their goal meter. It could be a simple email or social media template for them to customize and send to family and friends, asking for donations. You could provide a document with your branding materials, like your logo, and a package of materials for folks to host their own events, if that's something that you want to do. Be sure you and your team have thought through the task you're empowering your fundraisers to complete so that you are all equipped to assist them along the way. So here are some other items to consider. Ask all fundraisers to add a goal meter in their campaign to showcase the proximity to their goal and create that sense of urgency. Give shout outs to your fundraisers and promote their campaigns personally. Let people know that your supporters are fundraising for you. Give them a shout out on social media. Promote your peer-to-peer campaign through virtual or in-person fundraising events. And again, coming soon, consider adding a leaderboard on your campaign page. Pro tip number 3, tell and highlight a story. Peer-to-peer fundraising campaigns can be a fun and engaging way to raise money, but if those campaigns are poorly communicated, your nonprofit can find itself losing more than it gained. So while unique and out-of-the-box events may be fun, be mindful when selecting a campaign. If peer-to-peer fundraising campaign, if the theme relates to your organization, your message will ring loud and clear and stick longer. So pro tip number 3, tell and highlight a story. You already know that telling a story is an important part of fundraising. So include visuals and add images to your Donorbox peer-to-peer fundraising pages. Relay your impact and the difference your fundraisers will make. And keep the momentum going by posting frequent updates and fundraising on your fundraising page throughout the campaign. Now, the highlight a story part. You can also invite your fundraisers to share their own story related to your cause and highlight it in your campaign updates. Prompt them with questions such as, how did you learn about our organization? Why is our cause so important to you? What have we helped you with through our mission? And those stories are always really touching and a great thing to share. And as I always say, people relate to people and donate to people. So bringing your cause down to a human level is always effective. And pro tip number 4 is short and sweet. Make it fun and make it impactful, right? This is a good time to think about your audience. Think about the people in your network and the people you would like to add to your network. These days, many people are engulfed in busyness, activities that people want to participate in that give them a rest from being busy or provide a sense of purpose, real purpose, are the most successful. So if you attended level 4 of our nonprofit fundraising bootcamp, you heard me talking about this in a similar way, but I called this making your ask bite-sized, right? Bite-sized, easy to digest, easy to tackle. Pro tip number 5. Remind all participants of the goal. Don't let your cause get lost amid the fun of fundraising and campaigning. With fun events and active challenges on the horizon, sometimes the true purpose can get lost. So remind everyone involved what they're working towards. How many backpacks are they providing with school supplies? How many meals are they putting in front of families? How many lives are they saving? Be sure to remind all participants of your organization's story and include it on all of your materials that you include or provide them, handouts, speeches, and especially on your own peer-to-peer donation page. And of course, don't forget to send regular email updates and thank yous to all of your fundraisers. And finally, pro tip number 6, be observant. This is new for a lot of you, so take notes on what works, what doesn't work, and the why behind both. Learn from your past efforts and the efforts of your peers. We all want to create something new and original, but oftentimes successful peer-to-peer fundraising campaigns are built on peer feedback. So listen to your participants and learn from their feedback to build upon and fine-tune for the future. By listening to your participants / your fundraisers, you not only make them feel empowered, but you also learn how to improve and make the process easier for them, which is a win-win situation. So the result of all these things. Peer-to-peer fundraising is an effective, definitely a unique and proven approach for nonprofits to raise funds. The key to any fundraising campaign is creating a strong strategy that includes everything from your messaging to your goals, to the resources you provide those fundraising on your behalf. So the result of a well-planned and executed peer-to-peer campaign can be amazing for your nonprofits. You'll empower your supporters and turn them into your greatest fundraisers. In turn, you're building those important, meaningful relationships. Not to mention, you'll get boosted donor acquisition. You'll raise funds faster and more easily. You'll raise more awareness of your cause and also bring up more of your social media presence and your brand recognition. So, there you have it, okay? The benefits of a peer-to-peer fundraising campaign are so abundant, whether you decide to allow your supporters to fundraise for your cause on a rolling basis, or for an urgent time-bound cause, or to amplify your efforts on a specific giving day, such as Giving Tuesday. Peer-to-peer fundraising can really amp up the engagement and give your revenue a major boost. So I am so pleased that we could launch our new peer-to-peer Donorbox peer-to-peer fundraising tool for free through December 31st, and to continue to support you through the biggest giving season of the year. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring Daniel up on stage. And while we're waiting for him to join, I want you to follow the link that is just about to launch to sign up or log in to start your very own peer-to-peer fundraising campaign with Donorbox. So click that link here to get started today. And again, this tool is free through December 31st. And I know we ran a little long here. I guess I had a lot to say, you guys. We will stay a bit past the hour so we can knock out as many questions as we can. So let's go ahead and get started. Are you ready, Daniel?
Yeah.
All right, so let me see here. We have a lot of questions coming in, so bear with me as I sort through these.
Yeah, I tried to answer as many of them as I could throughout the talk.
You and Sophie have been busy bees behind the scenes. So from Megan, are there examples of orgs doing a peer-to-peer campaign well? Would love to check out their donation and landing pages. That includes a wall, updates, and peer-to-peer example pages. So what I will go ahead and do for you, Megan, is when we share the recording to the link in the slide deck and email, we'll happily post some great examples of peer-to-peer campaigns within the Donorbox knowledge community so that you can check them out, explore, and get inspired. Thank you for that question. And this one's for you, Daniel. Once it launches, how do you add a leaderboard to your campaign page? Are your peer-to-peer fundraisers featured on your page?
So that's going to be with the top fundraisers. That's essentially the same as leaderboard. Yeah. And it will be featured on the main page. So the main campaign will have the top fundraisers available. I also know that someone was asking if that would be an optional feature. I will check in to see if that is a possibility. Currently, we're not planning to have it as optional, but certainly look into it as some people might have a preference to not have that displayed. So
thank you so much for that. And let's see here. I'm sorting through. I know some of these were answered already. So this one would be for you as well. Elaine is asking, can you set a definitive start and stop date for your peer-to-peer campaign?
No, not currently.
Thank you for
Again,
that.
This is another thing that we're looking into. There's a lot on our plate right now, and if there's anything that is highly requested, then it becomes a serious priority for us. I'm not sure how we can collect information from individuals, but if anybody is interested in discussing further about their needs as an organization, what features might benefit them in the fundraising process, I am more than willing to schedule a meeting sometime and discuss anything with you. As we mentioned before, you all here in the chat are our priority. So I want to make myself available if anybody is actually interested in, explaining any issues they may have, explaining, solutions that will benefit not only them, but, the larger nonprofit world as well.
Thank you so much for that. Yes, we are always listening to feedback and changing and innovating to suit our organizations. So let's see here. This one is from Emma. Do the peer-to-peer pages connect back to the main fundraising page? Like, will donors appear on both pages? So, oh, you can take it away, Daniel.
I'm not entirely sure how donors will be rendered on page to page. I believe it is likely the case that the donors will appear on both pages. Internally, this isn't established yet, but internally on your main campaign dashboard, they will appear as part of your main campaign. So your donations will both be from your main and your fundraisers campaign. And then peer-to-peer pages will connect back to the main fundraising page, but it'll be through a link. And when it says on the fundraisers page, fundraising on behalf of, organization name, that link there will link back to the main page.
Thank you so much. Now, are approved fundraisers able to edit and write their own content on their personal fundraising page?
Yes. So by default, the description, their content is the same as the main campaign. This is just by default, it's auto-generated. However, the fundraiser has the ability and options to do whatever they want with this text block. The reason why we generated it by default from the main campaign is that in the case that the fundraiser just wants their campaign up and running in like a single click, they can do that.
Thank you so much for that. And that actually knocked out a few questions that we had there about if someone didn't have the time or want to customize their page, would they have to? So it is generated by default, but they can go in and edit it.
Right. So we're trying to just make it so that like if someone wants to fundraise, they just need to create an account and then click a single button and their page is up and live.
Sure. And I love this question from Megan. What would be the reasons a nonprofit would choose only allow invited fundraisers? Can't think of many reasons not to have someone donate money or peer-to-peer fundraise for us. So it's kind of just so you can get to know, if you're testing this out for the first time, it might be nice just to test it without any newcomers. So test it with your supporters. And again, get feedback from them, be observant and see what works best, and really getting comfortable in this new fundraising lane. And then open it up to everybody. And the reason that you get the requests saying, hey, someone would like to fundraise for you and you have to accept it, is so that you can check it out. Make sure that it's in line with your organization's visions, or perhaps you can learn about this fundraiser before you approve these campaigns. So yes, it's always great to have as many people fundraising for you, but in this new fundraising journey, it might be a nice option for you to start within your network before you open it up to everybody else. However, everybody is different, and that's why we've created both of these options. I hope I answered that eloquently. Let's see here. Do you want to, Danny, do you want to tackle some of these technical questions?
I'll try.
I'm trying to decide which ones are the best to answer. I am, as if you are familiar with me, you know, I'm not super tech savvy. Daniel is the brains behind a lot of this. So we'll try to tackle some of those product questions before we move on to some of the fundraising questions. Daniel, let me know if you can see our questions tab okay.
Are you showing it to me right now?
Oh, so go ahead and click the question mark link in the top right corner, that little icon.
Oh, view
and
question.
I do see a lot of questions about how much peer-to-peer will cost after December 31st. So again, this tool is free through December 31st, and we're so proud to offer it to you for free through December 31st for the busiest giving season of the year. We are still working on pricing for this tool, and we will make an announcement for it in the new year. So thank you for hanging tight. And in the meantime, take advantage and explore and really utilize it, again, for raking in all those year-end donations.
Let's see.
And if you've got more questions, bring it in. We are at the top of the hour, but we're going to stay just a couple minutes past, make sure that we've answered as many as we can.
Yeah, so as far as the Donorbox widget, I want to fundraise for this thing. I answered it in the chat, but to reiterate, currently for the widget, it's only after a user submits a donation. On the confirmation page, there's a button that's rendered. That is the I want to fundraise for this button. That being said, we are looking into the option of having that available before a user makes a donation. I understand that'd be super useful. So don't worry, that is on our radar. So yes.
Thank
you. Let's see. Just looking through these questions right
now.
Sure.
While you're searching through, I've got another one from Megan. What's the cause of the increase in funds per person giving from 200 in 2019 to 400 in 2020? So I'd be happy to share this study with you, but I can speculate that it's a shift in how people give, especially moving into this digital space. And again, with the pandemic, this has affected a lot of it. So peer-to-peer fundraising is just moving up in popularity. It's gaining a lot of popularity. So I can attribute that to the increase in 2020.
So to answer Owen's question, yes, it works with PayPal and Stripe. Any payment processors that you have for standard campaigns, those will work with your peer-to-peer campaigns. So what happens is essentially the fundraisers campaigns are acting as like a proxy for your main campaign. It's a personalized, the fundraisers campaign is just their personalized version of your main campaign. So any funds that go to the fundraisers campaign just automatically get sent to the main campaign. There's no interaction on the fundraisers part in any funds that are being generated.
Thank you for that. And we've got another question. Let me see, I saw it in the main chat. Do you have any short tutorial videos that we could share with members to show them how to customize their personal fundraising page? So if you've been on our Donorbox YouTube, you know that we've got a team making lots of YouTube tutorials, and we are definitely working on these materials to share with you, not only in blogs, but also on YouTube. So those are coming. Stay tuned to get all those resources from us. And if you have any questions in the meantime, if you want to know what's the best way I can explain this to my fundraisers, just drop us a line and we can offer you some advice.
And then Jenna, like, is there a way for individuals here to get in touch with me? I'm not sure if I should like throw out my email.
You're welcome to share your email if you'd like. We've also got support@donorbox.org if we've got any more questions here. But Daniel,
right.
You're more than welcome to share your email.
Yeah. So so if anybody here has so if anybody here would like to get in touch with me regarding feedback, regarding any issues they may have with the campaign or additional questions, I am going to post my email in chat right now, and you're more than welcome to reach out to me. As I said, you are a priority, so let me know if there's anything that we can do to best facilitate, you know, completing this as the best product for your organization. So about to write that here, and feel free to drop me a line and we can move forward from there.
Wonderful. Well, we have kept everyone past the hour. If we were not able to get to your question today, please reach out to us. You can also utilize the Donorbox Knowledge Community. You will all be getting an email with a link to the Donorbox Knowledge Community, also with the recording and the slide deck from today's presentation. We'll make sure that you are all set up for success and we've got all of your questions answered. Do not forget to click the link in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen that says Harness the Power of Donorbox Peer-to-Peer Fundraising. Click that link right now. Make sure that you sign up or log in to start using peer-to-peer fundraising today. Again, November 30th is coming up so quickly. That's Giving Tuesday, and you really want to take advantage of the most generous giving season of the year, and this is an amazing tool to do that. So thank you, everyone, for joining us today. And once you launch your first peer-to-peer campaign, be sure to tag us on social media. Tag Donorbox on social media so that we can check it out and cheer you on and give you a shout out. So on behalf of everyone here at Donorbox, we want to thank you for all that you do to serve your community. And we are so proud to provide the tools and resources you need to help you help others. So thank you so much, everyone. And thanks, Daniel, for hopping on today. And Sophie behind the scenes.
Great. Yeah, thank you all for joining.
Thanks, everyone.